They gave us the soundtrack to our lives. Their voices stirred our souls.
It's just a dream come true.
Their melodies healed our pain, and their words became poetry we never forgot. But sadly, their time later reached and they left us. Some at a young age, while others at old age. In this video, we visit the graves of beloved legendary musicians whose music shaped generations, and even tell you about their death as we honor their legacies. Subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments section which musician's passing touched your heart the most. Let's remember them together. Johnny Ramone. Johnny Ramone, born October 8, 1948 in Queens, New York, helped ignite a punk rock revolution. As the founding guitarist for the Ramones, his raw, fast, no-nonsense playing shaped the sound of a generation. In his later years, Johnny faced a long fight with prostate cancer. Sadly, on September 15, 2004, at just 55 years old, he passed away from the disease at his home in Los Angeles. He was laid to rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where a statue of him stands, guitar in hand, a symbol of the fire he lit in rock and roll. Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison, the wild, poetic soul behind the Doors, was born December 8, 1943, in Melbourne, Florida. He is best known for songs like Riders on the Storm and Light My Fire. He turned rock music into raw, hypnotic art. But fame fed his inner chaos. He battled addiction, isolation, and the weight of being a cultural icon. Sadly, on July 3, 1971, Jim was found dead in the bathtub of his Paris apartment. No autopsy was performed, and he was only 27 years old. He was buried at Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris, where fans from around the world still gather to leave flowers, poems, and quiet goodbyes. His fire burned fast, but it never went out. Prince, born June 7, 1958, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was a musical genius who defied labels. With hits like Purple Rain and When Doves Cry, he blended funk, rock, soul, and pop into something entirely his own. Sadly, on April 21, 2016, the world lost him. Prince died from an accidental opioid overdose at his Paisley Park estate at 57 years old. He was cremated, and his ashes were placed in a custom urn shaped like Paisley Park, now a museum in the place he called home. Even now, his music feels like lightning in a bottle, untouchable and eternal. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, born in Gary, Indiana, on August 29, 1958, gave us music that made the world dance. From Billie Jean to Thriller, his songs weren't just hits. They were moments that defined a generation. But behind the spotlight was a man who struggled. Fame never let him go, and neither did the loneliness. In his final days, he was planning a comeback. This is it, hoping for one more chance to reclaim the stage. Then suddenly, on June 25, 2009, he was gone. He died at just 50 years old from a drug overdose at his home in LA today. He rests at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. And even now, when his music plays, it feels like he never left. John Lennon. John Lennon, born on October 9, 1940 in Liverpool, England, changed music forever. As a founding member of the Beatles, his words and melodies helped shape the spirit of a generation. But on December 8, 1980, tragedy struck. John was shot and killed outside his home in New York City as he returned from a recording session with his wife, Yoko Ono. He was just 40 years old. He was cremated, and his ashes were scattered at Strawberry Fields in Central Park, a peaceful corner of the city he loved and called home. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, born January 8, 1935, in Tupelo, Mississippi, became the king of rock and roll. With hits like Can't Help Falling in Love and Jailhouse Rock, he shook the world and changed music forever. But behind his success, he struggled with the pressures of fame, addiction, and declining health. Sadly, on August 16, 1977, Elvis was found unresponsive in his Graceland mansion. He died of a heart attack at just 42 years old. He was buried at Graceland in Memphis, where millions still visit to pay their respects. Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin, born March 25, 1942, in Memphis, Tennessee, was the Queen of Soul, with 18 Grammy wins and a voice that defined generations. Songs like Respect and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman weren't just hits. They were anthems of empowerment. But behind her strength was a woman who carried deep pain, from early personal loss to years of private health battles. In her final months, Aretha fought advanced pancreatic cancer. She passed away on August 16, 2018, at her home in Detroit, aged 76. She was laid to rest at Woodlawn Cemetery in Detroit, dressed in gold, like the royalty she truly was. Even now, her voice still rises, strong and unforgettable. Sonny Bono. Sonny Bono, born February 16, 1935, in Detroit, Michigan, rose to fame as one half of Sonny and Cher. With hits like I Got You Babe, he brought charm, humor, and unforgettable music to the world. But Sonny's life was more than music. He later turned to politics, becoming a U.S. congressman, always determined to make a difference. Then on January 5, 1998, tragedy struck. Sonny died in a skiing accident in South Lake Tahoe, California. He was 62 years old and he was laid to rest at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California. His headstone reads, "And the beat goes on." His voice, his laughter, and his drive live on, far beyond the stage. Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly, one of rock and roll's earliest pioneers, was born September 7, 1936, in Lubbock, Texas. He helped shape the sound of a new generation with songs like That'll Be the Day and Peggy Sue. But his rise was cut tragically short. On February 3, 1959, a day now known as the day the music died, Buddy died in a plane crash alongside Ritchie Valens and the Big Bopper at only 22 years old. He was laid to rest at City of Lubbock Cemetery in Texas, near the place where his music began. B.B. King. B.B. King, born September 16, 1925, in Itta Bena, Mississippi, was one of history's greatest blues guitarists. With his soulful style, he inspired legends like Eric Clapton and even the Beatles. Known as the King of the Blues, he played with raw emotion, and with Lucille in his hands, songs like The Thrill Is Gone became unforgettable. In his later years, he battled diabetes and health complications. On May 14, 2015, B.B. passed away in Las Vegas at the age of 89. He was laid to rest at the B.B. King Museum in Indianola, Mississippi. His music lives on, deep, honest, and timeless. Bob Marley. Bob Marley, born February 6, 1945, in 9 Mile, Jamaica, was a global ambassador for reggae. His music fused Jamaican and African rhythms with messages of unity, resistance, and love. With songs like One Love, Redemption Song, and No Woman, No Cry, he gave a voice to the oppressed and became a symbol of peace worldwide. In his final years, Bob battled a rare form of cancer that spread throughout his body. He passed away on May 11, 1981, in Miami, Florida. He was just 36. He was laid to rest in 9 Mile, Jamaica, in a mausoleum near his birthplace. His spirit still sings in every corner of the world. Amy Winehouse, a Grammy-winning singer with a voice that sounded like heartbreak and soul, was born September 14, 1983, in London, England. Her album Back to Black made her a global star, with hits like Rehab and You Know I'm No Good. But behind the bold voice was a young woman battling addiction, anxiety, and the crushing weight of fame. Sadly, on July 23, 2011, Amy was found dead in her London flat. She died from alcohol poisoning at just 27 years old. She was laid to rest at Edgwarebury Cemetery in North London, close to her family. Her voice was raw, real, and unforgettable, just like her. Aaliyah, born January 16, 1979, in Brooklyn, New York, was a rising R&B star with a smooth voice and graceful presence. With hits like Try Again and One in a Million, she brought a fresh sound that felt ahead of its time. But just as her star was rising higher, tragedy struck. On August 25, 2001, Aaliyah died in a plane crash after filming a music video in the Bahamas. She was only 22. She was laid to rest at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York, mourned by millions who saw greatness in her future. Toby Keith. Toby Keith, born Toby Keith, Covell on July 8, 1961, in Clinton, Oklahoma, was a country musician who became one of the genre's biggest stars. A top singer, songwriter, and producer, he blended traditional and modern country with a bold, unmistakable style. With hits like Should Have Been a Cowboy and Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, he captured the heart of working-class America. In his final years, Toby battled stomach cancer with quiet strength. He passed away on February 5, 2024, at age 62. Toby Keith is buried at Sunset Memorial Park in Norman, Oklahoma. Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton, born February 10, 1962, in Castro Valley, California, was the bassist for Metallica and a driving force behind their early sound. His raw energy and classical influence playing helped shape the future of heavy metal. But his time with the band was cut tragically short. On September 27, 1986. While on tour in Sweden, Cliff died in a bus accident. He was just 24 years old. He rests at Cranus at San Francisco Columbarium. Though his life was brief, Cliff Burton's legacy still roars through every Metallica riff. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, born February 26, 1932 in Kingsland, Arkansas, was a voice for the broken, the outlaws, and the faithful. With songs like I Walk the Line and Hurt, he brought raw honesty to country music and to life. On September 12, 2003, just 4 months after losing his beloved wife, June Carter, Johnny passed away from complications related to diabetes at 71 years old. He was laid to rest beside her at Hendersonville Memory Gardens in Tennessee. His voice still echoes, low, steady, and full of truth. Janice Joplain. Janice Joplain, born January 19, 1943 in Port Arthur, Texas, was a powerhouse of soul and rock. With a raspy voice full of fire and pain, she made songs like Piece of My Heart and Cry Baby Unforgettable. But fame came with loneliness, and Janice battled addiction and heartbreak behind the scenes. On October 4, 1970, she was found dead in a Los Angeles hotel room from a heroin overdose. She was just 27. She was cremated, and her ashes were scattered into the Pacific Ocean near Marin County, California. Brian Jones. Brian Jones, born February 28, 1942 in Cheltenham, England, was a founding member of the Rolling Stones. A gifted multi-instrumentalist, he helped shape the band's early sound with his bluesy style and restless creativity. Brian was found dead at the bottom of his swimming pool on July 3, 1969, at just 27 years old. He was laid to rest at Cheltenham Cemetery in England, near his childhood home. Liberace. Liberace, born Waju Valentino. Liberace, on May 16, 1919, in West Allis, Wisconsin, was one of the most flamboyant and gifted performers in music history. With dazzling costumes, grand pianos, and a signature smile, he became a household name in the world of classical pop and showmanship. In his final years, Liberace suffered from AIDS-related complications and passed away on February 4, 1987, at his home in Palm Springs. He was 67 years old, and he was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles, in a crypt marked with his name in gold. Rick James. Rick James, born February 1, 1948, in Buffalo, New York, brought funk to the mainstream with explosive energy and unforgettable hits like Super Freak. His sound was bold, wild, and impossible to ignore. But behind the fame came years of drug struggles, arrests, and personal demons that often overshadowed his talent. On August 6, 2004, Rick died of heart failure in Los Angeles. He was 56 years old and had multiple health complications at the time. He was buried at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Buffalo, back in the city where his journey began. John Denver. John Denver, born December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico, was a beloved folk and country singer whose songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Annie's Song captured the beauty of life and nature. Tragically, John died in a plane crash on October 12, 1997, at 53 years old, while piloting his own aircraft off the coast of California. He was cremated, and his ashes were scattered over the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, a place he deeply loved. His music continues to carry us home, wherever we are. Dimebag Darrell. Dimebag Darrell, born August 20th, 1966, in Ennis, Texas, was the powerhouse guitarist behind Pantera, known for his fierce riffs and unmatched stage energy. On December 8, 2004, tragedy struck during a performance in Ohio. Dimebag was shot and killed on stage by a disturbed fan. He was just 38 years old. He was laid to rest at Moore Memorial Gardens Cemetery in Arlington, Texas, buried in a Kiss casket gifted by Gene Simmons, a true tribute to a lifelong rocker. Little Jimmy Dickens. Little Jimmy Dickens, born December 19, 1920, in Bolt, West Virginia, was a Grand Ole Opry legend, known for his tiny frame, rhinestone suits, and big voice that brought country charm to every stage. Through decades of music and laughter, he stayed a beloved figure in Nashville. But in late 2014, his health declined, and on January 2, 2015, he passed away at age 94 from cardiac arrest. He is buried at Spring Hill Cemetery, Nashville, Tennessee. Dwayne Alman. Dwayne Alman, born November 20th, 1946 in Nashville, Tennessee, was a guitar genius who co-founded the Allman Brothers Band and helped shape Southern rock with his soulful slide playing. At just 24 years old, Dwayne's life was cut short in a motorcycle crash on October 29, 1971, in Macon, Georgia. The loss stunned the music world. He was buried at Rose Hill Cemetery in Macon, where fans still come to honor the brilliance he left behind. A flame that burned fast, but forever changed music. Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr., a pioneer of country music, with songs like Your Cheatin' Heart and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, was born in Mount Olive, Alabama, September 17, 1923. He poured raw emotion into every lyric, but behind the fame was a life of pain, battling alcoholism and chronic illnesses. Sadly, on January 1st, 1953, at just 29 years old, Hank died alone in the backseat of a car en route to a concert. He was laid to rest at Oakwood Annex Cemetery in Montgomery, Alabama, remembered as a legend who lived fast, sang hard, and left a mark no one can erase. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston, born August 9, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey, had a voice that soared like no other. With hits like I Will Always Love You and Greatest Love of All, she became one of the most celebrated singers of all time. But fame came with struggle. Whitney battled addiction and personal heartbreak for years. On February 11, 2012, she was found unresponsive in a hotel bathtub in Beverly Hills. She died at just 48 years old and was laid to rest at Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey, beside her beloved daughter, Bobby Christina. Her voice still echoes. Powerful, unforgettable, eternal. Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong, born August 4, 1901, in New Orleans, Louisiana, brought jazz to life with his gravelly voice and brilliant trumpet. Songs like What a Wonderful World and Hello, Dolly made him a legend around the globe. He passed away on July 6, 1971, from a heart attack at 69 years old at his home in Queens, New York. He was laid to rest at Flushing Cemetery, and every time his trumpet sings, the world still feels just a little more wonderful. Webb Pierce. Webb Pierce, born August 8, 1921, in West Monroe, Louisiana, was a honky-tonk trailblazer of the 1950s. With hits like There Stands the Glass and Slowly, he helped shape the golden era of country music. But fame faded with time, and Webb stepped back from the spotlight in his later years. On February 24, 1991, he passed away from pancreatic cancer at 69 years old in Nashville, Tennessee. He was laid to rest at the Woodlawn Memorial Park. Yet through every twang of steel guitar, his voice still echoes through country's roots. Doby Gray. Doby Gray, born July 26, 1940, in Simonton, Texas, gave us timeless soul with Drift Away, a song that still feels like a warm escape. Though success found him, Doby often flew under the radar, more quiet legend than headline name. He kept recording, writing, and performing with a deep love for music till the end. On December 6, 2011, Doby Gray passed away at 71 from complications after cancer surgery. He was laid to rest at Woodlawn Memorial Park in Nashville, Tennessee. And when Drift Away plays, we still feel him letting the music carry us home. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra, born December 12, 1915, in Hoboken, New Jersey, was more than a singer. He was a voice that defined an era. With classics like My Way and Fly Me to the Moon, he turned heartache and hope into unforgettable music. Sadly, on May 14, 1998, Sinatra passed away at 82 after a heart attack in Los Angeles. He was buried at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California. His headstone reads, "The best is yet to come." And for many of us, it still feels that way whenever his voice plays. Tammy Wynette. Tammy Wynette, born May 5, 1942, in Itawamba County, Mississippi, became the voice of heartbreak in country music. With songs like Stand By Your Man, she told stories of love, pain, and resilience that echoed across generations. Tammy Wynette passed away in her sleep on April 6, 1998, at 55 years old from heart failure. She was laid to rest at Woodlawn Memorial Park in Nashville, Tennessee, the heart of country music she helped shape. Her voice still lingers, full of sorrow, strength, and soul. Freddy Mercury. Freddy Mercury, the electrifying frontman of Queen, was born September 5, 1946 in Zanzibar, Tanzania. He had a voice that could shake stadiums and a presence that owned every stage. He gave us anthems like Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions. But behind the fame, Freddie fought a private battle with AIDS, a fight he kept hidden until the very end. On November 24, 1991, he passed away in his London home at just 45 years old. Freddie Mercury was cremated at Kensal Green Cemetery in London, and his ashes were given to his close friend Mary Austin, who has kept their final resting place a secret. Tina Turner, born November 26, 1939, in Nutbush, Tennessee, rose from hardship to become the queen of rock and roll. With raw power and unmatched energy, she gave us unforgettable hits like What's Love Got to Do, With It and Proud Mary. Behind the spotlight was a woman who endured years of abuse and heartbreak, but she never let it define her. She found freedom, rebuilt her life, and came back stronger than ever. Tina passed away on May 24, 2023, at her home in Küsnacht, Switzerland, after a long illness. She was 83, and she was cremated. Though she's gone, her fire still burns in every beat of rock and roll. Ray Charles. Ray Charles, born September 23, 1930, in Albany, Georgia, redefined American music. Blending gospel, blues, and jazz, he gave us timeless songs like Georgia on My Mind and Hit the Road Jack, all while navigating the world without sight. He lost his vision at just 7 years old, but never his vision for music. Through addiction, grief, and racism, Ray kept pushing forward, guided by the sound that lived inside him. Ray Charles passed away on June 10, 2004, from liver failure at 73. He was buried at Inglewood Park Cemetery in California. His voice still echoes, smooth, soulful, unforgettable. Jim Reeves. Jim Reeves, born August 20th, 1923 in Galloway, Texas, became one of country music's smoothest voices. With hits like He'll Have to Go and Welcome to My World, his velvety tone earned him the nickname Gentleman Jim. But tragedy struck on July 31, 1964, when Reeves died in a plane crash near Nashville. He was just 40 years old, flying his own aircraft through a storm. Jim Reeves was laid to rest at the Jim Reeves Memorial in Carthage, Texas. Though his life was cut short, his songs still carry a calm that comforts hearts across the world. Whan Jennings. Whan Jennings, born June 15, 1937, in Littlefield, Texas, was a pioneering force in outlaw country music. With hits like I'm a Ramblin' Man and Luckenbach, Texas, he brought a raw, rebellious edge to country that reshaped the genre. Whan faced personal battles, including struggles with addiction and health issues. Sadly, on February 13, 2002, he passed away at 64 years old in Chandler, Arizona, due to complications from diabetes. He was laid to rest at the Mesa City Cemetery in Arizona. His legacy endures, his voice still echoing in the heart of country music. Grandpa Jones, born Louis Marshall Jones on October 20th, 1913, in Niagara, Kentucky, was a beloved country and gospel singer known for his old-time banjo playing and storytelling charm. For decades, he brought laughter and music to hee-haw and countless fans across America. Behind his cheerful persona was a man devoted to preserving the roots of traditional country. He passed away on February 19, 1998, at 84 years old. Grandpa Jones was laid to rest at Spring Hill Cemetery in Franklin, Kentucky. Donna Summers, born December 31, 1948, in Boston, Massachusetts, was the queen of disco and a 5-time Grammy winner. With hits like Hot Stuff and Last Dance, she lit up dance floors around the world. Sadly, she passed away on May 17, 2012, from lung cancer at 63 years old. Donna was laid to rest at Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles. Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne, born John Michael Osbourne on December 3, 1948, in Birmingham, England, was the Prince of Darkness and a heavy metal pioneer. As the voice of Black Sabbath and a solo artist, his raw energy and larger-than-life persona helped define a genre. Ozzy battled Parkinson's disease and injuries from a 2003 quad bike accident, yet he continued performing until the end. On July 22, 2025, surrounded by family and love, he passed away at 76. Following a public cortege through his beloved hometown of Birmingham, where fans gathered at the Black Sabbath Bridge and Bench, a private funeral was held on the family's Buckinghamshire estate. He was laid to rest there on July 31, 2025. Even in passing, Ozzy's legacy roars on. His music, grit, and spirit echo forever. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. It's one of the most meaningful ways to honor these stars who gave us so much. If any of these legends left a mark on your heart, Tell us in the comments whose passing touched you the most. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next video, where we'll continue honoring more unforgettable stars.